Hello, this is Dr. Sturm, and I want to welcome everybody to our second Learning Stories segment. I am with Mr. Dave Rapps, who is a math teacher in our school. He's been with us at ISP for the past 7 years. He's also a curriculum team leader, and that means he is the department chair for our math teachers. What we're talking to Mr. Rapps about is what distance learning looks like in a math classroom. Last week, or in the last few weeks, we talked to Mr. Hisham and talked about social studies and global politics in particular. This week, we're starting with our math department and Mr. Rapps. So with that, I think I'll ask Mr. Rapps. Mr. Rapps, you've been teaching for over 25 years, I might say.
Right.
And this is definitely a very special and different year. How have you adapted to this new reality of distance learning? What is it looking like in your math classroom? And what is your strategy? How do you ensure learning for all students in this environment?
Right. Well, this has definitely been a challenging year, to say the least, but it's also been exciting too to try and incorporate new technologies, new ways of interacting with kids. But it ultimately comes down, because if it was 1 or 2 lessons to do distance learning, that's one thing. But when we're delivering a program, it ultimately comes down to we have to expose the children, the students, to the content, to the knowledge, and we have to get them to it. And then we have to give them time to process it and practice it, right? And so for the majority of classes, the approach we've taken is we've done the flipped classroom, where the asynchronous learning is done at home, where they watch a video, getting the base concepts so that they can start to get a grasp of the ideas. Then they come into the class and they get opportunities to process it and to practice it. And what that looks like in the class, because there's got to be some accountability as well. It has to be part of the process. And so we often start off class where there'll be a quick check-in on Zoom, and where the accountability part, where they'll have a quick question that they'll do, and they'll send me just personally the answer in the chat box. And then once they've done that, then they move over to a breakout room, and they work collaboratively with a partner or two. Because I do strongly believe that math is a social process to learn. You have to talk about it. You can't just hear it. You have to engage with it verbally, with writing, and be part of the conversation of math. And so then they go to the breakout rooms to work collectively with peers. And then once they've done a question or two there, and at that time I walk around and help do little mini lessons, see how they're doing, make corrections, give suggestions, give insights, hopefully. And then the last part of lessons, often they finish that, and then they do some individual time where they do some individual practice. We've made a good attempt at having all the solutions available for kids so they can check their answers, reflect upon their work that they're doing. But it's really been an aspect that we have accountability for the kids, where they have to check in to make sure they're keeping up with the task. There is aspects to collaborate with their peers, and the practice piece of them doing it individual. And then most of the time we end the class off with some kind of an exit ticket to make sure that kids are, that they've picked up the material. There's always a checkbox at the end, like asking that specifically says, if I need to talk to my teacher one-on-one, check this box here. And so there are opportunities for kids to reach out and ask for help. And so to summarize, it's like there's accountability, there's collaboration, there's independence, and a support network when they want it.
That's great. How do you feel that students have adapted to this new way of doing things? And what is your sense of their learning? How have they progressed in general?
Right. They've definitely all progressed. Some actually are struggling. Some are doing, I would say, what I would expect them to do in the regular classroom, and some are even doing better, actually. They like the online environment. There's less pressure. They like the flexibility of the time. But I do feel overall the students are learning, right? They're interacting with the mathematics. They're asking questions. Of course, we always want more, right? We want more, but they're doing a great job, and they have accepted that this is where they are, and this is what we have to make the best of.
That's great. Thank you. Well, we all know this is a challenging environment, to be sure, but we have to applaud our teachers, and thank you to Mr. Rapps and your department and our students for putting their best foot forward in this very challenging environment. We're going to continue with this segment in the next couple of weeks to look more specifically at what a math classroom looks like from both a student perspective and a teacher perspective. So we're going to be hearing more from Mr. Rapps in the coming weeks. So I want to thank you, Dave, and have a great day.
All right, sounds good. Thanks. Bye-bye.